you've put out a lot of information out there, some really, really personal stuff, as well as, stuff on supplements. You mentioned EAAs earlier. You put it all out there, your injuries, your pec tears, your lat tears, everything. How do you deal with trolls though? I personally like trolls because I almost think they're like a godsend. You have this individual that, spends practically every waking moment, with me, it's calling me dookie or calling me fat or bald, whatever. I don't care. But, like, they're obsessed with either getting under my skin or making me mad, whatever. How do you deal with them? But like, I'm going to mention 3 people, and I may be mistaken. Maybe they're not trolls. Maybe they're just really harsh critics. But of course, I don't think you've really had any issues with Jason Genova, but I'm curious what your take on Jason is. I like Jason, but some people, even Rich. I mean, my gosh, look what happened with Rich and Jason,
Oh, that was a mess. That was crazy. Rich actually called me the next day and was like, I didn't know. He's like, I thought it was an act. He's like, I didn't know he had any kind of disability. I was like, Jesus, man.
I love Jason. And in fact, when that happened, I'm not going to lie, I did take Rich's side only because I don't think he knew. I don't think he quite grasped the situation.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, at the time, not many of us knew, to be honest with you. There always been speculation whether Genova was faking it, like as part of a gimmick, right? And I actually met him in the Misfits a couple of years ago at the Olympia. It was the first time I met all of them. They were separate. So I ran into the Misfits, and I was like, I saw Andrew and Lenny and Brad, and they were the coolest guys. Like, Nate was there with them. I've met Nate several times, but they were so cool. And I was like, where's Jason? Like, he's at that booth. Like, they have him at a booth. And I'm like, really? I'm like, for what? They're like, bodybuilding.com or whatever it was, had him at the booth, like, as an appearance. And I was like, no shit. So I walk over, and he sees me, and like, his face lights up. And he actually is a lot bigger in person than he is. And I don't want to blow his head up, but he actually is bigger. He's
got
fatter,
some
bigger,
He's got some pretty wicked calves, let me tell you.
Yeah, he's kind of like, I think he's got thick bones. Like, his wrists and stuff look kind of thick and stuff like that. But so he goes walking up to his mom, Jane, who's a sweetheart. And the first thing he says, I mean, just my wife is standing with me. The first thing he says is, Jerry, it's true. I have autism. The first thing he says. I look at Jane and she goes, I was like, okay, cool. I didn't know what to say. I was just like, okay, cool. In the back of your head, you're like, okay, is he trolling now too? Like, is this whole thing, like, because online is so much bullshit, like, is he a troll and now he's trolling me in person, like telling me he has autism, or does he really have autism? Like, you're starting to think all these weird things, but then you see him interact and you realize that he does have autism. And I think he was embarrassed about it for a while when he was younger, like, 5-6 years ago, but I think he's kind of embraced it and understands that it doesn't make him like a bad person. Just makes him that he sees life a different way than, a lot of us do. I'm glad that he embraced it. And I think that if anything, for people with disabilities like he has, they should be able to look up to him because he's actually successful. I mean, he's not a millionaire like he wants to be, but he has a name. Like, in the fitness industry, people know who he is. There were people waiting in line to take pictures and stuff with him. So here's a guy that, he really loves bodybuilding, and he's made a career out of it, and he has a name. Why, why wouldn't you look up to him if you were, even if you weren't a person with a disability? People without disabilities should be able to look at him and say, he did it. He didn't even know what he was doing, but he did it. And then, why can't I do it?
No, I agree 100%. And I don't believe he's a troll at all. Some people do, and I think in Rich's defense too, he really did not have that interaction with him. Even if you watch the video, it really, you can't really tell there. And, but when I interviewed him, I made sure to have Andrew by his side. I just wanted to make sure, because Jason is a little impulsive, and sometimes that'll get the best of him. So having Andrew there, kind of like either Andrew or Brad. But Andrew's he's kind of like the glue that keeps the Misfits together. He's like the man right there. There's a few folks I wanted to talk about.
And Jason just always had this kind of like awkward thing about him, but it was just like, maybe he's just eccentric. I didn't really think much of it.
And I've never had an interaction with Jason Blaha.
Oh, really? I mean, like, I used to talk to him on the phone, because like when I first started YouTube, I had monetized my channel and I had said some things and they took the thing down. They gave me a strike. I was like, what is this strike thing? I don't understand. And he's like, well, it's probably because you put it up and you have a monetized channel. I said, well, how do I unmonetize the channel? He's like, you don't. Once you monetize, you just monetize the video or not. I'm like, I want this platform to be where I can say anything and not have anything censored. And he's like, don't be stupid. He's like, you're going to make money after a while with this. He's like, do not try to, you'd have to shut the channel down and start over. He's like, don't be stupid. Just let it ride out and you're going to make money. Like, he even was looking at it as a business, like, back then. And then I don't really know what transpired with him. And there was something about, he wanted to start a supplement company and he got turned down for it. And he turned to like being against the supplement industry. And I don't know what the fuck. I mean, he went after the BioGrow thing first, and you know, he wasn't really worried about what he was saying. I think he was just saying things because he wanted to get clicks and views. Like he knew what was going on, and he was just doing it because he hated supplement industry now, and he knew that by doing the stuff, people would pay attention. Like he did the fake natty thing for a while, and then did the other thing. And we had some knockdown, drag out fights, man. This thing went on for years. We made videos going back and forth, like replies and stuff. Like, I mean, it got kind of ugly many times. I was in Houston at one point where I wanted to meet up with him and just beat the shit out of him. Like, it got really bad. And then someone had actually contacted me, and it doesn't matter who the person is because the person knew him, and said that basically, you know, he doesn't take the medication he used to take when he was over in the UK. And they didn't want to go too in depth on what it was, but they said this medication kept him much more stable. And when he moved back to America, that's when he started going off with all the crazy things that he was saying. And he was a mercenary and all these types of things. So once I got that information, I went, man, I'm like, it's almost like picking on Genova. If someone has a problem and they're not taking their medicine, you can't fight with that person because they're not fighting in your reality. Like they have their own reality. And I feel like it's the person. If I'm going to fight with him, I have an advantage. It's not a fair advantage. You know what I mean? So I just kind of backed off, and I was like, whatever he's going to say, he's going to say. And I just backed off and left it at that. And I think that, you know, that upset him more that I wasn't interacting. Like he got more and more pissed that I wasn't interacting. And I just looked at it as like, I'm not going to do this any longer because it actually feeds into what he wants and what he likes. And that's actually feeding into part of his, I don't know if it's a disability or what you want to call it. Like it feeds into that and it makes him worse. So why would I want this guy to be in a worse situation? You know? And I'm like, I just backed off. I'm like, it's not worth it. You know, I look at Jason Blaha just like Jason Genova. They both have these two different things that are going on, but it's very easy to take advantage of both of them in an argument and get one over on them because they don't live in the real reality or your reality. You know what I mean?
No, I do. And the thing is, I wouldn't say that all of Jason Blaha's content is trolling, but I would say a good chunk of it is. And it is funny though. I just never knew if he truly believed it or if it was an act. Like, you know, like for example, he created a persona, like with the, I don't know what you call that hat that the commandos wear and making bullets. I mean, that's so really random. Like he's actually making bullets. And it's like, you know, nothing, I'm a big Second Amendment guy, so I have no problem with that, but it's just so random. You know what I mean? Like
go back to when he was in the UK, he was doing like the fitness stuff. Once he got back to America, everything changed. And I think none of us really put two and two together that like when he moved, it changed. But when he got back to America, the medications or whatever were expensive, or maybe he felt like he didn't need them, whatever the case may be. This individual told me he stopped taking the meds. And look at how he turned out. And they're like, it's going to get worse. Like, and I'm like, really? I'm like, and you could see it. Like, it was almost like a degeneration of him over time. And you're like, what is going on? It's like, now it's not, I mean, we all evolve and become different people, but it seemed like his was becoming this very strange reality that was like living in a movie or something like that. And then you start to go, okay, this person's out of touch reality. Like they think they're a mercenary. They think, I mean, and then you step back and you go, why am I getting wrapped up in this? Like, why am I even involved with this? And I thought I had some really cool troll stuff that I was doing against him. I was actually having a good time with it at one point. Because, you know, when you can really hit somebody under the belt, if they hit you under the belt, it makes you feel satisfied. And then you realize you're hitting him under the belt, and he doesn't even realize he's hitting you under the belt. So you're like, I'm fighting a fight that is not fair. You know what I mean? So I kind of just walked away from it.
Yeah, and I mean, I have quite a few trolls, and I've noticed that there's a couple that come to mind, like, but I'm not going to mention their names. And I feel like, you know, I blocked them some time ago, years ago, actually. And, you know, I think that's what stings the most is when you don't talk about them. You don't even like dignify them by saying their name. But right.
If like they're not worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's very, very humiliating in and of itself. But I totally understand what you're saying also. Like, you don't really feel the same like level of satisfaction if you're fighting somebody that basically has an arm tied up behind their back kind of thing.
Right. If I was going to fight in the UFC and my opponent had handcuffs on and I knocked him out in the first round, I mean, you know, what? Like, you know, that's what I look at it like, you know, it's an unfair advantage for the person that doesn't have that disability because now that person that has the issue is living in a reality that I don't understand. How am I possibly, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to fight in my reality while they have their reality. And it's just getting meshed and looking like just a bunch of horseshit after a while. So it just didn't make any sense. And I saw it was going nowhere. And it was doing more harm than good. I could see that the more that I went after him, the more infuriated he got and the crazier he got with the things that he was saying and doing. So it was just, it wasn't good anymore. And then I actually felt bad about it. And that's why I just stopped.